तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः। We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and today we will have to start reading about Master Masha's third visit. For a week or so, he had come away from his house and is staying with his elder sister in Baranagar. And from there we saw how he, visiting different gardens, came to Sri Ramakrishna, most probably on the 26th of February 1882. And then he had an introduction, he had a permanent attraction, appeal to his mind and heart, that here is a place where my mind will go up and up and up towards God. And so after 2 days, probably on the 28th of February, yes, he came again. And he came in the early morning. And we have finished reading that portion yesterday. How he came when Thakur was shaving, and how the talk drifted to. Thakur told him about Pratap's brother, how Thakur scolded him for not finding a job to support his wife and children. And then Thakur inquiring about Master Masha, where he is and what he is, and trying to gauge the makeup of his mind. And so, Sakar, Nirakar, we saw a lot of discussion on that point. Thakur corrected Master's wrong thinking on that point. And Thakur asking him whether you are married. Thakur has not asked this question to other disciples, but because Thakur had felt some special placing of the Master, of Master Masha, expecting him that perchance he might not have married. And he was disappointed very much when Master Masha told that I am married. And then he further asked, do you have children? And he said, yes. Thakur was still more disappointed. And he consoled Master Masha, telling, I see certain signs in you. But then, how is your wife? Is she Vidya Shakti or Avidya Shakti? In Master Masha's mind, Vidya and Avidya only meant academic learning or not learning. So he said, she is good, but ignorant. Then Thakur chided him by saying, you have enough knowledge. So he understood step by step that knowledge means, later on he said, I understood that knowledge means knowledge of God. Everything else is not knowledge. And then, after the discussion on image worship and so many other things, Master has become very, very humble and has understood two things. That I know nothing, he knows everything, I have to learn from him, point number one. And point number two, my problems, my mental problems can be controlled or solved only if I put my mind in God. So he asked that question, how can we fix the mind in God? And Thakur tells 6 points to be carried out. We have seen, always take the name of God, sing His glories. Now and then meet devotees and sannyasis. Sometimes must go to seclusion and think of God. And meditate. In the mind, in the corner, in the forest. And always discriminate between the real and the unreal. God alone is real, everything else is unreal, temporary, and so. And thinking thus always, remove that which is unreal from your mind. These were the clear instructions. And introspectively, when Master Masha saw that in the present way in which I am living, these things are not possible, but I must follow what he has said. I have asked him and I must follow that. So he asked second question, how should I live in my life? And there again Thakur repeated some of the instructions, and the main point he told was like the maid servant in the house of a rich man. And we have seen that that rich man is God. And you, even a male member, must have an attitude of a maid servant who calls the children of the owner as my Hari, my Rama, but knows that they do not belong to her at all. And he gave detailed description about how to live the life. And another point was that first attain devotion and then enter the household life. And then about discrimination, so many varieties we heard. Satya, Asatya, discrimination. Then amongst them, communication is anitya. And then money, it can fulfill some basic needs of human life, but it will not lead to God. So it cannot be the aim of life. And when Master Masha talked of Vastu Vichar, then Thakur took up another level of discrimination of seeing a thing from outside and inside. And that way he said, what is in the body of a beautiful woman? Inside, all the same constituents of body plus filth. And why should a man forget God for this? So, this way, and then the hope came in Master Masha's mind that can one see God? And Thakur said, yes, certainly, if you follow these things. And he repeated those 2, 3 things. Then Master asked his profound question, in what condition of the mind we can see God? And then in one word, Thakur gave the answer, yearning. And yearning resulting in crying. And how the yearning will come? By loving God. And what type of attraction should be there towards God? The combined attraction which a worldly man feels for the objects of the world, his possessions, the mother feels for the child, and the women devoted to her husband feels for the husband. And if these three equivalent force goes to God, giving up these things, then one will see God. And he ended that by telling one has to have the attitude of surrender, like the kitten. This was the second day's talk. And with that, Master has gone back to his house, and now, after 5 days, because he says now that again it was a Sunday. So first visit was on Sunday, after 2 days means Tuesday, and so next Sunday. Probably on the 5th of March. Now, here in English, a short introduction is there, but I feel at this point I should tell you about what is in original Bengali in that place. So the English tells us it was Sunday afternoon when M came on his third visit to the master. He had been profoundly impressed by his first 2 visits to this wonderful man. He had been thinking of the master constantly and of the utterly simple way he explained the deep truths of spiritual life. Never before had he met such a man. Now let us see. Many additional beautiful things we'll get when we go to Bengal. Here it tells that in those days, Master Masha was in his sister's house in Baranagar, and since his first darshan of Sri Ramakrishna, always, every moment, he is thinking of him. Sarvakant Tarichinta. Every moment, he is thinking of Sri Ramakrishna. Always as if his blissful figure, he is seen in front of his eyes. That is the impression. In front of his eyes, he is as if seeing, means visualizing the blissful figure of Sri Ramakrishna. And as if he is listening to the nectar-like words of Sri Ramakrishna. So that memory or impression of those days was so vivid that he is still listening to the words. And he started thinking, this poor Brahmin, how did he discover these deep principles, deep truths, and having discovered, knew them, realized them, discovered and known them. And then this, what we got in English, that in such a simple way, he is explaining that. I have never seen up till now any man like that. And then he adds, when shall I go again to him and get his darshan? This is what he was contemplating day and night. Though it took 5 more days because in the circumstances we know were different. So that is the background, and now he has come. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on this small coach. The room was filled with devotees who had taken advantage of the holiday, Sunday holiday, to come to see the master. M had not yet become acquainted with any of them, so he took his seat in a corner. Here, in Bengali, some beautiful thing is in Bengali, beautiful thing. How to translate this? He came and saw how in that Purva Parichita Gharer Madhye Thakur Sri Ramakrishna Choto Takta Pashir Upar Vasyachen. How will you translate this? Purva Parichit.
Well known.
Well known to Master Mashe. The room with which he was acquainted from before. Now, is it not wonderful? He had paid 2 visits only. And second day stop was in the veranda, to begin with at least. So a tremendous truth is hidden in this. How that room has become well known to Master Mashe from before. That means in those 5 days, he has constantly thought of that room. Again and again, as if he has visited that room. That is the impression in the Master's mind. So this is another profound truth. Though we have seen that he has always thought and like that and visualized, but that room has become as if well acquainted with that room. So that is the thing. One more line I wanted to read. For that we will into Master had not yet become acquainted with none else up till now among those devotees. So he sat on one side in that assembly. The master smiled. M had not yet become acquainted with any of them, so he took his seat in a corner, on a side. The master smiled as he talked with the devotees. Smiling, we see, will be a constant factor. He addressed his words particularly to a young man of 19 named Mahendranāth, who was a college student and frequented the Sadharan Brahma Samaj. This requires quite a bit of explanation for people not acquainted with this Brahma Samaj and Sadharan Brahma Samaj. In English, this word Sadharan is used because it was the proper noun of that Samaj. And Sadharan ordinary means ordinary. But this meaning is not there. Sadharan means general, universal, not particularized. That is the meaning of sadharan. And it requires a little history. Brahma Samaj was founded by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Brahma Samaj. Brahma means belonging to Brahma. Just as Vishnu worshippers or followers are called Vaishnavas, Shiva followers are called Shaivas, Shakti followers are called Shaktas. So the followers or devotees of Brahma are Brahmas. And they thought that Brahman is Nirakar. Though they did not make a proper conception of the Nirgun Brahma. They thought Nirakar means Nirgun. So, worshippers of formless God, that is the society formed by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. And after Raja, the next leader was Devendranath Tagore, Devendranath Thakur, Rabindranath's elder father. After him, the leadership came on Keshav Chandra Sen. Now, Keshav Chandra Sen, especially after meeting Thakur, and even before that, Indianized the Brahma Samaj so much. And therefore, his Samaj was called as the Bharatavarshiya Brahma Samaj. And there, due to certain points, a group broke away. And their idea of Brahman is universal, Nirakar. We are not particularly attached to India. We are not particularly carrying Indian traditions. So they called their society as Sadharan Brahma Samaj. This is the history. So this word Sadharan has come as opposite to Indian Brahma Samaj. They want to make it universal, belonging to the whole world. So Sadharan, this one must understand. So, Mahendranāth frequented the Sadharan Brahma Samaj because Keshav Samaj was moving on according to Keshav's whims, and they wanted it should move on some fixed principles. And followers of truth, they thought the separation came on this point. That first, when it was going according to Keshav's whims, other leaders said that we must make certain rules. And because they were involved in social reform, one of the rules they made was that girls should not be married below a particular age. They fixed the age limit. And Keshav had a daughter. And a very good, what we call, fit person came across. And so Keshav got his daughter married. Though she had not attained the minimum age prescribed by the Brahma Samaj. So he does not adhere to truth. That was the point on which Swami Vivekananda joined the Southern Brahma Samaj. Because from his childhood, from his birth, he was very strict on the Vachik Satya. And so, though he honored Keshav, he went to his society sometime, but he became a member of the Sadharan Brahma Samaj. This is the point. Because of his fascination for truth, he joined the Sadharan Brahma Samaj. College student and frequented the Sadharan Brahma Samaj. His eyes were bright. His words were full of spirit. And he had the look of a lover of God. And in Maharash's mind, his look was of a lover of God. M guessed that the conversation, because it was already going on, M guessed that the conversation was about worldly men who look down on those who aspire to spiritual things. So we find this. There are people, rare people, who aspire for spiritual things. And those who do not, because of their attachment to the world, like to criticize them, attack them. That is the main difference. Those who love God or love spirituality are not going to attack the others. They are busy with their pursuit of spirituality. But those who are not inclined, actually a mixture of superiority-inferiority complex. They think rationals. So they think they are fools. Who is God? Where is God? And they do not stop at that. They attack them. You are wrong, they will go and tell it. We will find so many such people in the world even today. Because people going after spiritual pursuits are always very less in number. So the other people like to attack them. And so, how a devotee should deal with them? Now, first day, second day, we have known how to live in the family. And there, we have supposed that normally they are all good people. So now in our practical life, we must know how to live in the world, Thakur has told, but their encounter with bad people had not come. Encounter with worldly people had not come. Only one line in reference to worldly people, as a worldly man loves his worldly possessions. That love should go to God. As soon as that love will go to God, those who are indulged in the world, they will criticize. And this goes on. That means there is a formal worship in some people's house. Quite ritualistic, and they may be strict adherent to that also. But if somebody starts love of God, they will criticize him. If somebody wants to progress spiritually, they will criticize him. And they will call him abnormal. So, and higher up we have seen those who are worshipping Nirakar will always attack the Sakar worship. And Sakar worshippers will have to defend themselves. They do not attack the Nirakar worship. So like that it goes on. So how to deal with them? That is the topic. M guessed that the conversation was about worldly men who look down on those who aspire to spiritual things. The master was talking about the great number of such people in the world and about how to deal with them. At this point, I may tell you that the third visit has two topics. One is how many types of people are there in the world. Spiritual scale. Type means not Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, not rich or poor, but in spiritual scale, how many types of people are there in the world. That is the first topic. And toward the end, a new topic will be introduced when Master Masha will see Thakur in Samadhi. And that is the first time when Master Masha will see that. And that will be the second topic. These two topics we shall find in this third visit. So, Master to Narendra. Now, this is addressed to Narendra. Why we shall see. How do you feel about it? Worldly people say all kinds of things about the spiritually minded. But look here, when an elephant moves along the street, any number of curs means dogs, and other small animals may bark and cry after it. But the elephant doesn't even look back at them. If people speak ill of you, what will you think of them? Naren, I shall think that dogs are barking at me. Thakur gave that as an explanation, as an example. And he told it to Narendra. He knew that Narendra will mistake it. And so he is asking, what will you feel? And he will correct Narendra. So we have been made acquainted that Narendra's eyes were bright, his words were full of spirit, and he had a look of devotee of God. That means because he is a young man and full of spirit, so he will take it in that spirit and he will say this, anticipating this, Thakur told him. The room was full of people, but Thakur told this to Narendra, anticipating that he has misunderstood and I will correct him. So, Master smiling. Smiling means he has understood. Naren is not telling this out of ego, but due to the valor or vigor in him, he has taken it in this light and has gone a wrong step with that. That is smiling. Oh no, you mustn't go that far, my child. No, my child is not in Bengali, but array. So dear one, dear one is there, and Naren is young, so my child. Laughter. So we are eternally indebted to Master Masha because he has reproduced not only the words but the moods and reactions. So at this point there is a laughter. Why there is a laughter? Because Naren has wrongly understood and Thakur has corrected that. So anomaly produces laughter. Thakur has not originally meant that, but Naren understood like that. And people understood the mistake when Thakur told that. So this anomaly of understanding has produced this laughter. Now Thakur is explaining. wonderful truth of spiritual life. God dwells in all beings. So bad people, and God dwells in them. So you cannot think they are dogs, or you cannot despise them. But don't get affected by them that much. They talk like that because they do not understand. But God is in them. But you may, God dwells in all beings, but you may be intimate only with good people, and you must keep away from the evil-minded. So, importance of social behavior in the life of spiritual people. If he is a rich, we mix with them, all that thing is not there. Even if he is cultured, mix with them, that is not there. So, if he loves God, you can mix with him. And good people, you must keep away from the evil-minded. Okay. Now he gives example of God in every being, and yet we have to behave differently. God is even in the tiger. But you cannot embrace the tiger on that account. Here again, laughter has come. People will know, nobody will mix with the tiger, nobody will embrace him. But if God is in all, why should I not do that? So this mad-like rationality is not correct. Yes, God is. Now bad people, good people, he was telling. Now to impress upon that, he has gone to the extreme. Tiger. So whether to mix with bad people or not, you can easily feel when you think of the tiger. And this again, the contrast has made people laugh. Because it is obvious, so that has made people laugh. Obvious thing pointed out in this connection has made people laugh. You may say, why run away from a tiger, which is also a manifestation of God? All the anticipated questions or doubts coming in the mind. The answer to that is, those who tell you to run away are also manifestations of God. And why shouldn't you listen to them? So, thinking should not be flat. Within everything there are sections and subsections. God is in everybody. He is in tiger. But there are people who will tell you, don't mix with tiger. And God is in those people also. Now, in philosophical terms, how you will take it? Absolute value that God is in all beings. And this has to be realized. Only saying this is of no use. And to realize that, you require certain relative values. But in the name of relative values, you should not go away from the absolute values. So he's not saying that those who say don't mix, you should listen to them. They are also manifestations of God. So God is in every being is the absolute truth. And not divide of that should be the relative truth. Otherwise, for example, so many spiritually minded people, I'm talking of our organization and people like that. In the name of practical life, we may do some nonsense. That is not practical. My Guru used to tell, some small thing was there. And he said, when Brahmachari said, I adjust with that. And my Guru said, it is maladjustment. So in the name of practical life, we should not go away 1 inch from the ideal life. But practical is there. So practical, which is derived from the ideal, relative values depending upon the absolute values. So those relative values will take you toward the absolute value, otherwise not. This profound truth is there in this tiger story. And for that, Thakur will now tell an elaborate story. Those who tell you to run away are also manifestations of God, and why shouldn't you listen to them? Let me tell you a story. In a forest there lived a holy man who had many disciples. One day he taught them to see God in all beings, and knowing this, to bow low before them all. To see God in all those things. And then bow low. So if you don't see God in them, then don't bow low. Okay. So the emphasis should be on this word see. See means not imagine, experience. So the lesson, absolute value is that we should come to that state where we shall see God in all beings. And if you do like that, we must bow down. Okay. A disciple went to the forest to gather wood for the sacrificial fire. Suddenly he heard an outcry, "Get out of the way, a mad elephant is coming." All but the disciple of the holy man took to their heels. He reasoned that the elephant was also God in another form. Then why should he run away from it? He reasoned, he did not see. He stood still, bowed before the animal, and began to sing its praises. The mouth of the elephant, mouth is the driver of the elephant, was shouting, "Run away, run away." But the disciple didn't move. The animal seized him with its trunk, cast him to one side, and went on its way. Hurt and bruised, the disciple lay unconscious on the ground. Hearing what had happened, the teacher and his brother disciples came to him and carried him to the hermitage. With the help of some medicine, he soon regained consciousness. Someone asked him, "You knew the elephant was coming, why didn't you leave the place?" He said, "Our teacher has told us that God himself has taken all these forms of animals as well as men. But he wants us to see that. Therefore, thinking it was only the elephant God that was coming, I didn't run away." At this, the teacher said, "Yes, my child, It is true that the elephant god was coming, but the Mahut god forbade you to stay there. Mahut god. Since all are manifestations of God, absolute value, why didn't you trust the mouth's words? You should have heeded the words of the mouth god. Laughter. Laughter because again anomaly is caught. All is God, then why you listen to this and not to this? But in our emotion, we forget this. On this sentence, 3 days Swami Vivekananda explained to Harmon. That was the start of the Lila Prasanga. We read this.
Self-will. Self-will, or free will.
On this story,
In this story.
3 things he has told, self-will and destiny and like that. Now, another example. It is said in the scripture that water is a form of God. But some water is fit to be used for worship, some water for washing the face, and some only for washing plates or dirty linen. So, if we give examples from daily use, the point will be confirmed. So, tiger because of extreme, elephant and mouse because relative values. And now, difference showing that we already behave like that. This last sort cannot be used for drinking or for a holy purpose. In like manner, God undoubtedly dwells in the hearts of all, holy and unholy, righteous and unrighteous. But a man should not have dealings with the unholy, the wicked, the impure. He must not be intimate with them. With some of them, he may exchange words, but with others, he shouldn't go even that far. Exchange word means not quarrel. Huh? Hello, hello, good morning, that much. Don't go much near to them. That is the meaning. And some people are very wicked, don't go near them at all. Gradations. Huh? He should keep aloof from such people. Unholy, wicked, impure. Huh? He should not have any dealings with them, though God is in all. I wanted to give an example how people ask me, Samabuddhi, God is in all. Take a lamp, chimney of the old type or lantern. There is a flame inside and there is a glass around. Now the glass around can be dirty, black, disfigured, colored, or clean, regular. That is like the mind of man. Inside flame is like Satchidananda God. And how we will see the outside Prakash? Prakash will be there because God is there. But Prakash will be colored by the glass and we will have dirty behavior from people. So this is the example. Now another question, practical question has come. There are good and bad people. They are criticizing us and we should not pay heed to them. That was the original topic. Then different people have been told. Now, a devotee. Sir, if a wicked man is about to do harm or actually does so, should we keep quiet then? Master, a man living in society should make a show of tamas to protect himself from evil-minded people. Tamas is the lowest of the three gunas, sattva, raja, tama. And sattva is balance. Raja is a normal activity. And tama has kama, krodha and all that. So here showing tama means showing anger. Krodha. But he should not harm anybody in anticipation of harm likely to be done him. So this also is a balance. Somebody does harm to you, or you feel that he will do harm to me. Then you should show anger to keep him away from you. But because he is going to do, you should not harm him. This is spiritual life. Listen to a story. So Thakur does not produce tarkas for supporting some statement. He'll give stories. Some cowherd boys used to tend their cows in a meadow where a terrible poisonous snake lived. Everyone was on the alert for fear of it. One day a brahmachari was going along the meadow. The boys ran to him and said, "Revered sir, please don't go that way. A venomous snake lives over there." "What of it, my good children?" said the brahmachari. "I am not afraid of this snake. I know some mantra, incantations." So saying, he continued on his way along the meadow, but the cowherd boys, being afraid, did not accompany him. In the meantime, the snake moved swiftly towards him with upraised hood. As soon as it came near, he recited a mantra, and the snake lay at his feet like an earthworm. The brahmachari said, "Look here, why do you go about doing harm?" Now this is called a fable, in which other than man, animals are there, and they talk and listen to us. You don't put it rationally. Why, how? That is story, fable. Why do you go about doing harm? I will give you a holy word, Ishta mantra. By repeating it, you will learn to love God. Ultimately, you will realize Him. So, aim of life is to realize Him. And so, get rid of your violent nature. Saying this, he taught the snake a holy word and initiated him into spiritual life. The snake bowed before the teacher and said, "Revered sir, how shall I practice spiritual discipline?" "Repeat that word, sacred word," said the teacher, "and do no harm to anybody." As he was about to depart, the brahmachari said, "I shall see you again." Some days passed, and the cowherd boys noticed that the snake would not bite. They threw stones at it, still it showed no anger. It behaved as if it were an earthworm. One day one of the boys came close to it, caught it by the tail, and whirling it round and round, dashed it again and again on the ground and threw it away. The snake vomited blood and became unconscious. It was stunned. It could not move. So thinking it dead, the boys went their way. Late at night, the snake regained consciousness, Slowly and with great difficulty, it dragged itself into its hole. Its bones were broken and it could scarcely move. Many days passed. The snake became a mere skeleton covered with a skin. Now and then at night, it would come out in search of food. For fear of the boys, it would not have leave its hole during the daytime. Since receiving the sacred and word from the teacher, it had given up doing harm to others. It maintained its life on dirt, leaves, or the fruit that dropped from the tree. Dirt. Mati. Mati should not be dirt.
Soil.
Or clay, dust. Dust is the better word. Snake can eat dust, huh? Dirt, why will eat? Huh? Dust. Somebody has to be little careful about proof, huh? It maintained its life on dust, leaves, or the fruit that has fallen from the tree. Almost a year later, the brahmachari came that way again and asked after the snake. The coward boys told him that it was dead, but he couldn't believe them. He knew that the snake would not die before attaining the fruit of the holy word with which it had been initiated. He found his way to the place and searching here and there called it by the name he had given it. Hearing the teacher's voice, it came out of its hole and bowed before him with great reverence. How are you? Asked the brahmachari. I am well, sir, replied the snake. But the teacher asked, why you are so thin? The snake replied, revered sir, you ordered me not to harm anybody, so I have been living only on leaves and fruits. Perhaps that has made me thinner. The snake had developed the quality of sattva. It could not be angry with anyone. It had totally forgotten that the coward boys had almost killed it. The brahmachari said, it can't be mere want of food that has reduced you in this way, to this state. There must be some other reason. Think a little. Then the snake remembered that the boys had dashed it against the ground. It said, yes, revered sir, now I remember. The boys one day dashed me violently against the ground. They are ignorant after all. They didn't realize what a great change had come over my mind. How could they know I wouldn't bite or harm anyone? The brahmachari exclaimed, what a shame. You are such a fool. You don't know how to protect yourself. I asked you not to bite, but I didn't forbid you to hiss. Why didn't you scare them by hissing? This is the story. So, you must hiss at wicked people. You must frighten them, lest they should do you harm. But never inject your venom into them. One must not injure others. So, fine balance is maintained. But you have to hiss. Show anger. In this creation of God, there is a variety of things, men, animals, trees, plants. So, now variety of beings in the world, variety among men will be described in the spiritual scale. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriritam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatam Muigrunanti Ye Bhurida Jana. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.